Egypt were 2 goals ahead of the reigning world champions with 11 minutes left in a World Cup round of 16 match. 2-0 against Argentina, against Lionel Messi, against the team that had won the last tournament and had been installed as one of the favorites to win this one. Egypt, playing in their first World Cup since 1990, were 11 minutes away from one of the greatest upsets in the history of the sport. And then 3 goals happened in 13 minutes, and Egypt went home. What followed was not the quiet disappointment of a team that had come close and accepted the result. What followed was an eruption, a formal legal complaint, a coach who said no respect and no fair play today and announced he would not watch another match in this tournament. A player who looked into a camera and said the tournament is rigged. A federation president who submitted documentation to FIFA's offices demanding an investigation and the removal of the officials who oversaw the match. And FIFA acknowledged receipt of the complaint. They acknowledged it, in writing, during an active World Cup. The governing body of the world's most popular sport confirmed it had received a formal complaint from a National Football Association accusing its appointed referee and his team of double standards and serious refereeing mistakes that caused the Egypt team to lose the match and leave the World Cup. That sentence has never been written about a World Cup before. That acknowledgement has never been made during an active tournament. And the question it raises, which FIFA has so far not answered, is the one that is now following every remaining match of the 2026 World Cup like a shadow that won't move regardless of how bright the football shines. What actually happened in Atlanta on July 7, 2026? Let's go through it in full. Every decision, every moment, every reaction, because the scale of what Egypt are alleging and the scale of the expert agreement that followed demands that this story be told with precision. Egypt arrived at the round of 16 having done something remarkable. 36 years out of the World Cup, a generation of Egyptian football fans who had never watched their national team compete at this stage. Mohamed Salah, the most famous Egyptian footballer in history, finally at the World Cup, at an age when most players have already retired from international football. The weight of expectation was not light, and Egypt had carried it with composure throughout the group stage, finishing second behind Belgium with 7 points, beating Iran, drawing with New Zealand, and showing enough tactical discipline to convince the football world they could be genuinely dangerous in the knockout rounds. Against Argentina, they were more than dangerous. They were brilliant for 79 minutes. Egypt's first goal came in the second half, clean, organized, exactly the kind of structured attacking football that their coach, Hossam Hassan, had built his system around. The Egyptian supporters inside the stadium believed. The watching world started paying attention, and then came the moment. Mustafa Ziko scored Egypt's second goal in the 62nd minute, a goal that would have made the scoreline 2-0 with nearly half an hour still to play. The Egyptian bench erupted. The supporters erupted. 2 goals ahead of the reigning world champions. VAR intervened. The review found that Marwan Atiyah had fouled Argentina's Lisandro Martinez in the build-up to the goal. Early in the build-up, several seconds before the scoring action. Far from where the goal was scored, a piece of contact between 2 players that the referee had not flagged in real time and that required the VAR team to reach back into the sequence of play to locate. The goal was disallowed. The scoreline went back to 1-0, and then 3 goals came in 13 minutes. Argentina equalized through Christian Romero, then Messi scored, and then in the 92nd minute, with Egypt's players appealing for 2 separate penalty decisions that VAR declined to review, Argentina broke upfield and Enzo Fernandez powered home the winner from a cross by Lautaro Martinez. 2 penalty appeals from Egypt in the closing minutes. Substitute Hamdi Fathi went to the ground in the Argentina box after his shirt was pulled by Alexis McAllister. Mohamed Salah went down after contact with Julian Alvarez. Neither incident was penalized on the pitch, neither was referred by VAR to the on-field referee for review. And 45 seconds after Egypt's appeals were dismissed, Argentina scored the goal that sent them to the quarterfinals. Now compare those two non-reviews directly to the review that disallowed Egypt's second goal. The VAR team went looking into the buildup of Zico's goal and found a foul several seconds into a sequence of play. They did not go looking into the buildup of Argentina's winner when McAllister pulled Fathy's shirt in the area. They found the foul against Egypt and did not find the foul against Argentina. The same technology, the same review system, the same team of officials, applied in one direction for one team and not applied in the other direction for the other team in the same match.
Former England goalkeeper Rob Green, watching live on broadcast, said out loud in real time that it was surely not within VAR's realm to review the foul that led to the disallowed goal. Former England captain Alan Shearer said it on social media immediately after the match. Either both are fouls or neither is, but they told us they won't re-referee. Former FIFA referee Mark Clattenburg said he did not believe the contact on Martinez constituted a foul in the first place. He said VAR should not have intervened at all, and he said the standard applied to Egypt's goal was inconsistent with how referees had been officiating throughout this tournament. A sports psychologist who analyzed the match said a sense of injustice was induced by the VAR decision. He said this technology was supposed to minimize doubt and bring consistency. Instead, its use during this match had significant cognitive and behavioral effects. He was not saying Egypt were robbed. He was saying the VAR decision created a psychological reality inside the match that changed how Egypt's players behaved in the final minutes, with direct consequences for the outcome. Hossam Hassan stood in front of the cameras after the match and delivered one of the most direct and specific post-match statements any manager has ever given at a World Cup. He said he did not want to use beautiful wording. He said Egypt had been treated unfairly. He said there seemed to be pressures from the Argentina side on this outcome. He said in football there are sometimes external factors that go beyond the technical aspects. He said the world champions received support at every level. He said it was all about money and that FIFA wanted Messi to stay in the tournament. He said we had the right to win, and the final result is a far cry from the fair play that FIFA talks about. And he said no respect and no fair play today. He then said he would not watch another match in this tournament. The manager of a nation that had just been eliminated from a World Cup announced publicly that he was done watching the competition that had eliminated him. Zico was more direct still. He said the tournament is rigged. He said FIFA and the referee deliberately favored Argentina. He said it was clear from the start of the match that the referee was biased and kept trying to stop Egypt and shut them down on the pitch. These are not anonymous social media accounts. These are the manager and a player of the Egyptian national football team, speaking in official post-match settings at a FIFA World Cup, using the words rigged and biased and no fair play to describe what they experienced inside a match that determined whether they advanced to the quarterfinals or went home. FIFA's chief of refereeing, Pierluigi Collina, responded with a statement that focused entirely on threats being made against referees and their families, rather than addressing any of the specific incidents that Egypt raised. He said nobody can question the integrity of FIFA World Cup match officials. He said when this happens, it may provoke reactions that lead to threats against them and their families. He said this is not right.
He did not address the disallowed goal. He did not address the two penalty appeals that VAR declined to review. He did not address Mark Clattenburg's assessment that the VAR intervention should not have happened. He did not address Alan Shearer's question about why the same standard was not applied to both teams. He addressed the threats against referees and said nobody can question their integrity. Nobody can question the integrity of FIFA World Cup match officials. That is the institutional response to a formal complaint alleging double standards and serious refereeing mistakes that caused a team to lose and leave the tournament. Nobody can question it. The Egyptian Football Association's formal complaint was more precise than any post-match statement. It said the referee failed to use VAR appropriately.
It cited the disallowed goal. It cited the 2 penalty appeals that were waved away. It cited the timing of all 3 incidents relative to Argentina's comeback goals. It described the decisions as reflecting serious refereeing mistakes and double standards. It said, defending the rights and interests of the Egyptian national team is a matter that cannot be ignored, minimized, or treated as secondary. It said, it is our responsibility we carry with full conviction and determination, and it called for an investigation into the entire officiating team. FIFA acknowledged receipt of the complaint. Now, let's put this in the full context of what has happened at this tournament, because Egypt's complaint is not the first and was not the last. Belgium filed a complaint about the Balogun red card reversal. Ecuador filed a complaint about Mexican supporters disrupting their team accommodation with car horns and fireworks the night before their round of 32 match. Paraguay filed a complaint about the inconsistent application of the mouth-covering red card rule. Iran filed a complaint about travel restrictions affecting their preparation. Multiple federations across Africa and Asia issued a joint statement rejecting comments from UEFA's president describing certain World Cup matches as uninteresting. 5 formal complaints from national federations in the round of 32 and round of 16 phase alone. 5 separate institutional challenges to decisions or circumstances surrounding this tournament, and Egypt's, filed by their federation president directly, the most serious and the most specific of all of them. The context matters, because no previous World Cup in the modern era of the game has generated this volume of formal institutional complaints during the knockout rounds. Not in Russia, not in Qatar, not in South Africa, not in Brazil. Individual federations occasionally file complaints. 5 federations filing complaints in the span of 2 weeks in the same tournament, covering different categories of concern, from logistics to officiating to rule application to political interference, is historically unusual in a way that FIFA has not acknowledged publicly. And then, 2 days after Egypt's complaint was filed, FIFA appointed an Argentine refereeing crew to oversee France versus Morocco. All 5 officials, the referee, his 2 assistants, the 4th official, and the reserve assistant referee, all Argentine nationals. For the first time in this tournament, all 5 officials appointed to a match were from the same country, and that country was Argentina. 2 days after Egypt had formally accused the previous Argentine referee of bias. France won 2-0. Morocco claimed a handball in the build-up to the first goal. Morocco appealed for a penalty that VAR did not review. The result stands. Morocco are going home. And in London, the reaction from Morocco's diaspora community produced scenes that nobody in football wanted to see. Disorder on streets in areas with heavy Moroccan populations, riot police, flags, and the kind of pain that only comes when a community feels the injustice runs deeper than a football result. FIFA has not responded to Egypt's complaint substance. They have acknowledged receipt. They have said the referee's integrity cannot be questioned. They have said nothing about the specific incidents the complaint addresses. What do you think? Does Egypt's formal complaint, combined with the expert assessments from Rob Green, Alan Shearer, and Mark Clattenburg, represent the most serious integrity challenge FIFA has faced at an active World Cup in the modern era? And with Argentina still in the tournament, still potentially heading to a final, where the penalty statistics, the VAR controversy, and the Balogun red card reversal will all follow them, do you believe FIFA owes the football world a full, transparent, public response to Egypt's allegations before the tournament ends on July 19th? Let us know in the comments. Like and subscribe for complete semi-final coverage as this story continues to develop, and share this with every football fan who deserves to understand the full picture of what is happening at the 2026 World Cup.